6:01, I got.
Okay, so I'm gonna call the meeting to order at 6:01. And I need to take nominations for chairman of the board.
Nominate Kurt.
Well, I guess that's easy enough. I'll second it.
No more nominations?
We got 3.
Everybody in favor? Okay,
That was a 2-to-1 vote.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
In case nobody noticed, I want to make that clear.
and co-chair.
Oh,
We
did
did.
Brian?
Two nominations before?
How you gonna do this with 1 vote now?
Everybody in favor?
Who?
With who?
For who?
Kurt?
You had 2.
Oh,
You,
we did
no,
Kurt.
Brian. You nominated Brian.
Nominated Brian
Brian
nominated
nominated
Ed.
Ed.
You missed the other one, huh?
Okay,
Okay, Brian it is.
Brian,
Yes.
everybody in favor?
I think that was another 2-to-1.
Okay, Kurt, you're it.
Alright, so we call this meeting and roll call. Present is Brian Carlisle, Kurt Giles, Ed Lovell, Cindy Grant. Any public comment? Nope, I guess not. Alright, warrants. PY number 59 for $14,201.54. AP number 60 for $147,847.79. AP number 61 for $685.03. AP number 62 for $15,744.22. PY 64 for $5,428.47. And AP number 65 for $13,798.45.
I got, don't, yep. Oh, I guess a dollar amount. Well, how much
Oh,
was
yeah.
the dollar amount?
$13,798.45.
Oh, yeah, you don't have it either.
Wow.
No, she was rated.
Gotcha.
Interesting.
Alright.
We're gonna make a motion to.
Yeah, I make a motion that we accept the warrants as written.
Second.
3-0. All in favor? Abatements, supplements, Smith Living Trust.
Yep, so, I gave you one in your packet. What this is a parcel of land that was billed twice. Didn't exist. And it was sold, and relabeled incorrectly as map 4 lot 17-7. So we've gotta pay out to the trust $976.46 to the estate, and the other $533.35 will be taken off the rolls for that year, cause it never should have been taxed.
This is 2461.
Yeah. And I have the signable one if you guys are all in agreement.
Yep.
Okay.
So who paid twice?
No, it was billed incorrectly. There was a lot that was billed that was identified, there were 2 lots identified at the same thing,
Oh,
so.
Agenda adjustments?
I have a couple, first thing is, the IT contract I will be signing. I just wanted to let you know, the one with Nate. He came in today and did the paperwork. I'm gonna do it as an employee. so he's gonna get a big check with all kinds of taxes taken out of it. He
Okay.
wanted to do it that way. The other thing I had was, the Bread of Life Church, Ben Herbst and his band of volunteers, got the flag pole fixed with a light and new flags, and I thought it would be nice if we sent him a thank you card.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if you guys wanna sign that, and I'll get it off to him. The last thing is, my appointment for the new year, as tax collector, treasurer, general assistance, town clerk, registrar of voters, and health officer. And the last thing I had under agenda adjustments is, do you want us to send out a newsletter on the school vote coming up?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, just an advertisement that has taken place, did you wanna put something in it, or?
So have they come up with what it's gonna be? I guess that kind of depends on how I feel about it.
So, just watching the bits of the thing, they've shaved off, I believe, $500 and some odd thousand off the budget. And they're gonna put $3 million out of surplus towards it.
How much are they planning on keeping for the surplus for next year?
Their estimate is 1.7 to 1.8 going in as of yesterday.
I don't believe it adjusted their total at all,
No.
the outcome.
So, we put out a lot of information the last vote.
Yeah. So how do you feel about the three million?
I'm not in favor of it.
I'm
I
not,
told
I'm not
them
either.
that.
It's too much to,
I think they just,
they still haven't come up with a plan on how they're gonna deal with the
Nope.
rest, so.
Nope.
I guess
So-
I'd still stand against it.
but
So we should get as much information out as we can.
When is that next?
the vote is the
18th.
10th,
Yeah,
and
you're working.
we're down to the school again. And then the paper vote that we vote at the polls is the 18th.
Yep, so I guess we get the information back out. I mean, no matter how many people show up, we're still not gonna win.
I just don't know what else to do. I'm at a loss.
Like almost a quarter of the way there, and how much they came down.
Well, that's not even the problem. It's, they need to have a plan on how they're gonna deal with the surplus. If they don't have that,
Well, that was
Yeah.
my point in many discussions, including the last one that we had, is I don't want them to cut stuff out of the budget. I
Right.
don't want them, take some of that stuff that you want in that new budget and utilize some of that 1.7, 1.8 that you're dumping into fund balance.
Well, that's what it's there, cause that's what this says, right? You gotta be 1.8 million,
Yeah,
is what their projected
yeah,
surplus is gonna be.
yeah, so,
But like you said, that they got, well, what is it now? What's the total on the surplus? It's more than what it's.
10.7.
Right, it's more than it's last, right?
oh yeah.
did you mean?
And then it's supposed to go from, they could have 9%,
Appointment paper?
now it's going back down to 6,
Right,
Goes
So-
back down to
so
5
but how-
next year.
5, okay.
but how does that happen? You know what I'm saying, though? I mean,
It was just unchecked, and that doesn't include all the money that they've taken out and put into all these reserve accounts, which,
Right, which was 1.3 million.
yeah, this year,
Yeah, that's what's gonna happen.
and they've been doing it for years and years and years,
They'll
so.
keep taking more.
The reserve accounts, they can do whatever they want as long as they agree on it as a board.
Maybe the school administration,
Well-
that's what I'm gonna do.
So that's how they get away with it.
Yeah, school administration,
Yeah,
and it doesn't,
yeah. So it's the board that decides. At the end- at
The
end.
board is guided by the RSU, and,
They're pushing for that new building, is what they're doing.
yeah, and they're gonna have this surplus, we gotta spend the surplus on something, so. And I'm not, against them having a new elementary school,
Mm.
because they are using portable classrooms and everything, but it's gonna make sense. You know, they're gonna have $30-40 million in the new school. So I don't
Yeah.
know,
It's hard.
Administration building,
I don't know.
new town.
So, we will just put out a one-page
Yeah, I can tell you they don't
telling
get
dates.
They're gonna resurface it.
No, I
Well,
run it
if,
all the time.
I know, he's
If
not.
we get a little closer to the actual vote, we'll put some stuff out on social media, depending on how it,
Football field.
Okay,
what it is, I guess. You guys feel okay with
you
that?
can watch their budget meeting
We just-
and
We just did
even the
that.
school board meeting on their website.
Good point.
And that's all right to do. I mean, it's your personal opinion, correct? As to how you feel on the school budget.
Yeah, what are the odds that, we don't meet again before that, as I say? And our new guy probably isn't up to speed enough to offer up a whole lot of
I
information.
haven't talked to him, and he hasn't been to his first meeting yet,
Okay.
because the last board meeting.
Right,
He did show up at the last budget meeting.
He did.
And spoke,
yeah,
so I think he might be following
He,
along.
I was gonna say, he
I'm hoping
did
he
a
is.
really
He did have a
good write-up on
Yes, he did.
Facebook about it,
Yeah.
so he did have a lot of information, to share,
yeah.
so.
So I know we haven't been able to get Heath in here, ever.
I know that in his, at the budget meeting, what I caught of his, he nailed it. It's not a matter of the money anymore, it's a matter of trust.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think the only way they're gonna gain back any of that trust is to hand a check over,
They're not gonna do
which
that.
they're not gonna
Not
do.
gonna do it, they've made that clear.
And it's not that they can't, they won't.
They just need to be a budget zero increases and using that surplus to do that supplement.
Before we move on to this, the old Halloran thing, we get any word on that?
All done.
All done?
Yeah, he, settled for the 20,000.
Yeah.
It came in, I had to wait a little bit. We reimbursed anyway, the amount we had spent out last year and put the rest in miscellaneous revenue.
Okay. And he didn't want us to say we were wrong.
No,
Well, that's good, that's something, I've been thinking about that, and
So-
it's been bothering me.
no, it's all done.
Alright, so moving on, fire rescue.
Good afternoon. So for the month of June, we had another pretty busy month. Rescue had 15 calls and we answered 14. I gotta wait for Brian to catch his breath. Hurts his feelings every time. Fire, obviously 12 and 12. We couple. Thankfully, we had some not so bad calls that we had in the previous month, so they're all bad, but that part of it's pretty much par. Before I get into anything else, on behalf of the fire department, we wanted to just take a second and welcome Mr. Lovell to the board and let you know that we're looking forward to working with you,
Thank you.
fire department, so congratulations. Far as the month, it was pretty quiet outside of the calls because we had no money. So therefore, with no payroll, we couldn't do anything, no trainings, no anything like that. So it kind of held us back quite a bit, unfortunately. The one big thing that we did have this month was Senator Susan Collins came and actually visited her fire station. And we had a really, really good visit with her, a real good tour. A way bigger press conference than I was expecting, but
A little longer than I expected.
I guess I did all right. I didn't stumble too
Did
bad.
just fine.
But she was very, very, very nice, very courteous, real appreciative to the station and what we do. That was definitely probably the highlight for the whole department. I mean, just for that simple fact, you know, that she was able to come and see it. But The only other real big thing that I had, I thought maybe, I don't know if she's around or not, I wanted to thank Renee O'Donnell as well for her years of service in select board, and thank her from the fire department, but if somebody could pass that on to her, I'm sure, maybe you'll see her before I would, I'm sure. So if you could pass that, I would appreciate it. And that's pretty much it for this side of it.
On the fire side of things, before I talk about rescue, we had a building fire on Flint Road this past month, and the crew absolutely knocked it out of the park. It was one of the hottest fires I've ever been to, and the guys were in there putting in some serious work. So I just wanted to point out that that was a good test of a crew that doesn't get building fires all the time, and we were in it.
That's why we train, right?
It was one to write about. So, rescue side, I'm gonna be getting with Cindy at some point here in the near future, to get the AEDs that we got through that article we had through the town to vote on. I don't know if there's a specific thing we need to do, because it was an article rather than the budget. We'll get those ordered right off. And then the only other thing I wanna talk about on the rescue side is an account, that we also had an article in the town meeting for. The line item for it in the general ledger is 298, and what that account is it's a EMS training for licensure courses, essentially. That money comes from Northern Light, used to be Capital. It's essentially the EMS department's reserve account. So when we respond to a call and they transport, they give us $40. So quarterly, we average around 700, more or less, on, depending on how busy we are. So we found out this year that every year the article to renew that account is supposed to be in there. So in talking through the budget process with Cindy, my hope was that we would renew the article and also open that article up for a selectman vote in that account for high priority equipment like the AEDs. The reason that I had that thought process was because $6,300, an EMT basic class is not quite 2,000 when you talk books, class, tuition. I don't know if we pay miles or anything like that, but it's less than $2,000 to get somebody through the EMT basic program. So my thought was, there's 6,000 there, money's still coming in, granted things are changing there a little bit too. If we can open that up for also high priority equipment, and if there's over X amount of dollars, I can still send 2 people to EMT school, but then I need an AED, we don't have to wait for town meeting, we can buy an AED. So I think we had a miscommunication about it, and that can't happen, I guess, because it's a reserve account, it has to be a town vote to use the money from it. Okay. My big problem that I have right now is that because we've had years of that account, that article not in the town meeting, and that account not being voted on, the money that was in there is now no longer in there, and it's in the fund balance. So $6,347 and some 67 cents or something along those lines went from that account to fund balance because not a lot of us knew that article needed to be an every year thing. I thought when we redid this article that money was then just going to stay there. As of January, that money was in there on the general ledger and now is going to fund balance, and that article will go from now forward with money made. That's essentially $6,300 that the rescue department is losing for licensure courses, or the ability to go to the town and say, hey, we need 2 AEDs. And AEDs is just a good example because it's what we just did in having to go ask for money. So we're gonna have to do a special town vote. I was gonna wait for the meeting when you guys talk about the road bids and stuff like that, but I can't guarantee I'm gonna be at that one. So I knew I could be here tonight. So what I would like to do is, in the special town meeting for the road vote, is I would like to have an article in there that basically says to take that $6,300 plus the money that we made from the 2 quarters this year that, cause we're at July now, right, so we've got 2 quarters in, and put it back into that EMS fund account, that reserve account. Which is where it has been, it's where it's been going. It's only there because EMS guys are responding to calls when people are being transported out of town to the hospitals. It's only right that that money goes back to the EMS department.
How long had that account been active?
That account has been active for quite some time.
Years?
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, we were, I think, 3 years without it even being voted on,
What do you mean not being voted on?
without the article being.
It hasn't
the town
been in
meeting.
there for the last 3 years. It was in, I think it was 3 years prior to that. And then it was done away with because there was a balance in there for training. That's what it was, the purpose was training, to send people to be EMTs and stuff. And there was enough in there for a couple of people. So we took it out to let the money go back into fund balance to help offset taxes. And when the checks were coming in, we have it coded in the computer, and they were just putting it in. I didn't pay attention. And
The checks from
from
Northern Light?
capital, so they put the money in, it was sitting there, but I made the correction because for the last 3 years, it hasn't been in there, so it legally shouldn't have been in that account. So what he's asking is for the money to come out of fund balance and go back in that account. But it doesn't matter where the money is, we're gonna have to go back to the town and ask if they need anything or want anything, whether you take it out of fund balance or you take it out of this reserve account.
But now it's set up so that the monies that come from Northern Light now goes into that account?
From this point until January.
From this
when
point
those
When they do away with
payments
it in January.
Right,
From this point forward, but that $6,300 is gone.
right.
stop. Well, it's
So-
not gone.
So-
Well,
It's in
So
fund
can we
balance.
can we put an
It's not
article at the
allocated
town
to
meeting
us.
that asks for that money to go into that account for that purpose?
Yeah.
That's what we're asking.
Yeah.
That's what we're asking for, training,
Right.
major equipment purchase, should we have to get
But
something.
we already have an equipment account, correct?
Yeah,
But-
So we have the equipment budgeted, right? So we budget for stuff.
but we
every
have
year.
a capital equipment account, which you could take major expenditures out of, is what he's talking
Yeah.
about.
Like the fire department capital reserve, you mean, the one that's
Yes.
titled that? Yeah, I mean, sure, take the
I
money.
don't see, I mean, this is what the town voted against years ago, was we had set up all these various
Reserve
accounts
And
and,
people lost track of it.
yeah,
Right, like the school board.
Yeah,
So then, this reserve account was earmarked specifically for licensure classes before. So, an EMT basic class essentially, because we're never gonna pay for somebody to go to advanced EMT school, we don't operate to that level. If we started operating at that level, then yeah, we would certainly look to send people to that program, not that anybody would, right? The only additional thought was, which this is changing too, so with the ambulance, with the Northern Light thing that I think you guys talked about last month, last week, whatever it was, that money's not gonna be coming from Northern Light anymore. So, I'm not as worried about the equipment piece of it anymore, but I still, if I had known that that money was gonna be gone in January, cause that was not clearly made out to me that was gonna happen, our training budget would have been at least $2,500, because I have some people who are toying with EMT basic class, and I can't be in a position where I don't budget for that, and then say I can't send somebody to EMT basic school. I was under the impression that that money would be there, based on our conversations, $1,600, and that means I can send a bunch of people if I so need to. So I'm less worried about the equipment. The only thing that could come up is because the Northern Light thing may happen December 31st, or is happening December 31st, if our inventory is also going to become more expensive, because we're no longer going to be able to do one-to-one transfers. We use this on a medical call, we take it from Northern Light right now. On December 31st, that stops. So we're also going to have to buy more equipment if, I don't think it will, but if it became to a point where it's killing the budget, if we were allowed to pull from that from equipment, that would be there. Now, because it's a town vote that's different, it's harder. If we had been get a selectman vote, it's easy to come into a selectmen's meeting and say, hey, I'm gonna be about 1,000 short on equipment because we're not able to get stuff. So I'm not as worried about the equipment piece of it now. And if you don't want the EMS capital reserve fund, fire department capital reserve fund could be both of those. And we just earmark, we're gonna maintain in that fire department capital reserve $4,000 for EMS classes as a minimum in that account. So, you know, when we, like, if we get the AFG grant, we spend up to X amount of money out of that, but we're gonna keep 4,000 in it, earmarked for EMS licensure courses, essentially. Would be another option. I just think that that money has always come from Northern Light for licensure courses. I think it should, while it's still coming from Northern Light to us for work that's being done by the guy, that money doesn't happen if our guys don't respond. So, I just think it's right that that money be in that account.
Well said. I agree.
Do you have
Well,
anything to add? Do you have anything to add on that? Right?
Well, I'm nervous until we can hear what's gonna happen to ambulance service. I mean, if we go about setting up accounts and moving money around for this and that, and it could be we find out at the end of the year that things aren't as we thought they were going to be.
Okay, well, at the end of the year, I feel we're gonna lose, we're not gonna get the $40 anymore, we're not gonna cover that. The whole point of changing our structure around for the pay scale for the fire department was to get people to step to the next level to train up. So if we need to have the money to be able to train these guys, you know, if that sound about right?
Well, there isn't anything in the budget now for training?
So my training budget right now is $1,000 because that's been sufficient for fire department training, and then EMS training for licensure classes, we pull from that account.
That capital.
So if I know that money was gone, when you guys did the budget committee and you guys did the budget, you would have seen a bigger number in that
Yeah.
training account.
You would have definitely seen a bigger number.
And you got a couple of guys now that are looking to
We've got
do-
like 3 guys who were, and this is no guarantee, they're just like, yeah, eventually I'm gonna do it, I'd like to do it, let me know when the next class is. And if 3 guys decide to pull the trigger, I can't even send one right now, because that money disappearing, which I didn't know it was going to, like, yeah, we could go to the town and ask for money, or I could come to you guys and ask for money out of overlay or something, but we know what happened to overlay last year, right? So,
But we could add, the same thing's gonna happen, right? If you get guys that wanna go to school, you're gonna have to come and ask the board to go to the town and ask to spend out of that account.
that's what we did when him and Scott went to school.
Correct.
But that money's there.
The money was
Right
there
now,
when we
that
went.
money's not there, that money's in fund balance, and money's harder to get from fund balance for EMS than it is in an account that's earmarked for EMS. Always.
Very much. There's no
Earmarked
BS.
account,
It doesn't matter.
Right.
I don't think it matters a whole heck of a lot. I mean, it's there, I mean, we can, I don't see why it would be a problem to have an article at the, so we should be able to do
So
that.
that way there wouldn't have to be a town vote.
Yeah, it is a
to-
town vote.
It's still gonna be a
That's what
town
I'm
vote.
saying.
Still has to be a town vote.
No, right, but I'm saying if we do an article and the town votes on it, right? Then the money's in there so that if, say, in September, the guys actually do wanna go and do it, but then it's,
It's another town
We still
vote.
have to ask the town.
can it be written in a way that if they approve the money in that account, it can be used for EMS licensure classes?
oh, in order to even to
You
get the,
still gotta ask them to spend it.
That's what I'm saying though, is
No,
in that
you
article,
can't.
you also ask,
You can't
can't.
go and say, hey, $4,000 for
Approved by
classes,
selectmen.
and you might have.
It would be
people
2
come in
different
November.
articles to spend up to a certain amount for,
Okay.
so it's one article to put the money in there, and then it's another one to get the money out.
yes.
As we said, it's a pain.
That's
So
why I said
it's
if we
nice to have
just,
it marked so we know it's there to.
just as easy just to leave it where it is, and if they need the training money, ask the town to take it out of fund balance to pay for it.
until the money's gone,
Exactly.
like what happened to overlay. You know, I mean,
You know, like,
you find a bigger project than us,
I
and
mean,
it
it
doesn't
doesn't
take
matter
long
the
for that money
balance
to
in it,
go.
we're gonna have to train people, so we're either gonna have to budget for it, if we know ahead of time. If we don't, we go to the town and ask for money.
We have to get these guys scheduled before our next town meeting.
I would love to.
Well, if you did,
Then we can do it all at
It
once.
certainly would help.
Right.
Absolutely.
right, easy
Then you
enough.
kinda
Just
tie it-
understand, there's a lot to
Oh, sure.
that class, and there is a lot to getting every day
Signed up for
people
it?
signed up and through the first part of the process, and then making sure that the schedule works for them. So it's not a very simple, quick, I mean, I can say this because I can speak from experience, this was a pain in the ass to get through that, plain and simple. And the only benefit for the last two, Scott and I were able to do it because we didn't work. So it was simple for us, but we gotta make sure that when the next class comes, when it gets, these guys are able to do it on the nights that are available. They usually do them 2 nights a week and then a Saturday.
That
So-
typically ends up being the biggest problem is when the schedule for that
Right,
class,
well, it makes sense.
when
So,
that
right.
comes out is typically like, hey, in a month,
So
we're
it's-
running this evening.
So where did the money come from when you took the class? When you two,
That account, I believe,
that came out of that?
This account
Yes,
we're
sir.
talking about.
which is why we had no issue with the money side of it. It was just getting the schedule.
And that was a
part
town,
done.
and that was a town vote when that came out? When the,
I honestly don't remember doing it.
I
for
don't,
that.
no, I don't think it was,
So I don't
because
know
it
why
came
you
about
should
in
now,
an
but-
emergency. Cause these guys, within
Yeah.
like 2-3 weeks, said, hey, we're going to school,
Which is what it's gonna be.
Which is what's gonna
and I
happen
had
this
to find a
next time.
place to.
The school typically is fast to release a
But
schedule in
the
a month.
proper way to do it would be to go to a town vote, to ask to take it out.
I feel a lot better about spending an emergency fund for an EMS class out of an EMS earmarked
Yep.
than the fund balance.
I agree with you too, that would be,
This-
easy-
and I'm,
that would be
you know-
easier, there's gonna be an extra step in it for us, but it would be easier if that money was earned by the fire department and the EMS for that. I don't
Yeah.
see
That's
why it would be.
that's what that $40 does, basically, is pay us.
I agree.
So let's
every
put that
time
on,
that
to
we
get that
go on
into
a
an
call.
account. And then,
Just earmarked for training.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, cause like I said, the equipment thought where that money's now gonna not be
yeah, it's not
coming
gonna
in.
be there, it's gonna dry up real
Yeah.
fast.
Yeah, we got 3 1/4 classes in that account essentially, so. That's all I have, thank you, I appreciate it.
Alright, can we circle back, cause I forgot the minutes? Minutes from 5/28/24 and 6/3/2024. Any notes on that, Brian?
I do,
Okay.
on 528, under agenda adjustments. I didn't really quite understand what it's saying. So this Cindy G's signature to return the property to here, I assume that's her, but I don't know who her is, and she has sold it.
Yeah, good point.
And I'm just thinking, you know, as
Oh,
we've talked about.
I know what it is, I know what it
Julia's
is.
property.
So, it was a quitclaim deed for
Right.
Julia Simpson's property,
Yeah,
and I needed signatures to return the property to, that should say Julia.
yeah.
Right across from the mouth.
My concern with it was that, you know, if somebody came to look at the minutes
Right.
later
Yeah.
on, it really wouldn't know what it's talking
Yeah.
about, so.
Because Julia had sold the properties
Yeah.
and they needed it
Maybe
as,
she knows.
okay, now,
Shows it,
And,
so prove it.
Under old business, maybe I just need to refresh my memory. On number 1,
One copy of the last one.
second sentence, 1 being a Veterans Memorial Newburgh Volunteer Fire Association reserve, as this would be used to make a more permanent display for these 2 things. And I don't know what the 2 things are.
The Veterans
The
Memorial and the
Veteran
Volunteer Fire
Memorial
Association.
and the Newburgh Volunteer Fire Association Memorial.
Right
So
in the
that's
beginning.
clear to. Right. The other one, I didn't see anything.
That's all I had too. So do we need to change that to just Julia?
Yep. So accept them with just the one adjustment.
Okay. So I make a motion that we accept them with the one adjustment to Julia Simpson rather than her, or here,
Second,
You sent a message out, it said New Year.
3-0.
no, it'd be
2-0.
2-0.
Oh, 2-0, 'cause you weren't here. Gotcha.
Okay.
Right, that's why he's the co-chair.
Moving on.
And I still don't have my parking
I
spot.
don't know, stop.
Library, nothing. Animal control, nothing. Town manager.
Okay,
You're right.
so, I gave you April and May's bank reconciliations. I do wanna make a point of, I'm supposed to offer you a sit down to go over these reports that I gave you, to help you understand them. So if you wanna do that, let me know.
Yeah, that would be good, because I did have some questions.
Okay, let me know when you can meet.
Right.
So I have a ballot, from MMA, and it's for the Legislative Policy Committee. I don't know if you guys wanna vote on this. We have to vote for 2. This is their managers and town officials that sit on a committee that work on legislation that's put forth from MMA. And the people running for 2 positions is Melissa Doan, town manager from Bradley, Ben Bredmore, town manager of Holden, Andrew Hart, the town manager of Carmel, and Paula Scott, the town manager of Hamden.
Okay, these are obviously people you know better than us.
Well, I know,
In the past,
No
we've
bad.
always stayed away from
Yeah.
that.
yeah, we haven't done anything, but I have to bring it to you
Should we?
it's up to you. If you want,
I only know one with Hamden.
I mean, if they send it to vote and these are people you deal with all the time,
yeah,
I think we could probably go with whoever you think.
okay, so if you wanna sign this, we'll go with our neighbors.
Which one?
You got one each
Missy
side.
Doan, Carmel town manager and Hamden town manager.
Okay. Keep it local.
So, I'm kind of out of the loop, I just, quick question while we're doing this, so what is gonna happen in December, when,
So, I'll give you a quick rundown. Northern Light Transport, formerly Capital, Northern Light buying everything. They bought a bunch of hospitals, they bought ambulance services. They are, as of December 31st for a lot of towns, but anybody who signed a new contract is already under this. It's just December 31st when our contract renewal is, if I'm not mistaken, Cindy.
January 31st.
January 31st, not December 31st. January 31st is our contract renewal. So anybody renewing contracts is going to what's referred to as a per capita billing.
Oh,
So they bill you based on your population.
Okay.
And they have a set number that they
These
bill
are the new
based on
school
that
warrants for the
population.
new school
So,
vote.
when you do that, they typically will take a certain size town, like 3,000 and down is
Three
gonna
of
pay
them
X.
signed.
10,000 and
Oh.
down is gonna
Lines
pay
right
X.
I think it's
And
32,000.
so, we're looking at $17 per person, I believe. Cindy can correct me if I'm wrong on that one too. We haven't, I don't think, seen the actual contract yet for it, but we
So-
know that that's coming. So 17 times the 16 something hundred people that we have. I think
It was like 32,000.
we're gonna be around 25, 30,000, something like that for ambulance billing.
and that's what they're gonna, that's what it'll be, a base price
Yeah,
per year.
for them to come here. And
And they'll still be billing insurance companies when they transport and all that.
we'll no longer get our $40 per,
Or
And then-
or free
or
equipment.
they will be able to give us the bandages and whatever we use.
Well, that's right, anything off the
We're kinda
trucks.
taking a big hit on that.
That's gone, yeah.
So that's all going away. They've been operating the ambulance in the red for quite some time. Kind of expected that this would happen. It's a lot earlier than I expected. They've got 121 communities that they serve as Northern Light Transport. So if you take just our numbers and apply it across the board, it's like $3.29 million that they're going to be getting per capita billing that they weren't getting before. So,
Supposedly they're gonna try to regionalize the the whole thing, and
Wow.
Cindy's gonna go to a meeting here.
In July, yep. Actually,
what it's all
I'm gonna
about.
watch the
You watch
county
it.
commissioners meeting tomorrow because something I've been preaching since we did this is, interstate calls. It shouldn't be the town of Newburgh's responsibility, to go out there at the taxpayer's cost. So I spoke to a gentleman today and, he invited me to the meeting, but I'm gonna watch it online, but they're going after the county to go after the state for some state funding for these.
Yeah,
I told them about, what was it, a 30-car pileup we did out here? How many hours were we out there a few years ago?
That one was,
doesn't bad one.
there was like 50-something cars involved in
Yeah.
that one. There was 30 patients transported, I
Yeah.
believe.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
the big one
these guys
prior
are
to
out there-
that, January 2015,
101.
that was 101 cars
Yep.
and a lot more serious
Yeah.
impact.
I mean, that,
I was in that one.
you know, there should be some supplemental help coming from the
Yeah.
state for
I was
this
in the
sort of,
second one. I mean, we were working.
to help us be prepared for it and to help us pay the
So
cost.
this meeting in July, what is it exactly?
It is I wish I could, it's, so they did a regionalization up in the Howland area. They have it's a separate, department. They service 11 towns. And they're actually, this one is discussing a southern Penobscot one. Where, I have no idea, I don't know a lot of details, that's why I'm going.
Is this something that Neil could be involved into, maybe? So
I would
the
assume
more,
so.
The more knowledge that we have about it, the better, and you might have perspective on it.
It's the same meeting, so I spoke to you about a meeting a year ago that I didn't get
Yeah.
notification. But I'm pretty sure that, I know Brent gets the notification of
Yeah,
it.
Brent was on the
Yeah.
notifications. Brent would probably be the better
Okay.
one to
Yeah.
attend the meeting, come back with notes between the two of them, and then
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, if we could do that, so as many people,
Yeah.
so we have a good understanding of what's going on.
yeah,
we're working with some local places trying to figure out some stuff. So more to
Okay.
come.
We did have our chief meeting that I had mentioned that was coming last Wednesday. That was a very informative meeting, from what we call the Super Seven chiefs from the 7 towns. And a lot of them had a lot of new insight for us because they're already in the per capita building.
Yeah,
Anybody that either renewed their contract or had to start a contract due to changes of services are automatically already into that per capita. So
how's that working for them?
that's the only way that they've known it.
Oh,
So
okay,
they're, and I tread lightly when I say their base income per town is a hell of a lot higher than ours.
I'll say it. Herman's paying $60,000.
62,000.
And
Yeah.
they pay $100,000 per full-time employee they hire. So for them,
Yeah.
right. I
they
mean,
make out.
In Levant,
get a lot of people in a lot of businesses. to support
Levant
it.
is another town that's doing, they have one of Northern Lights trucks in their station, but they are also set on a per capita already because of the fact that the way that the timeline that their contracts ran out.
So there's really, what other options are there?
We haven't figured that out yet.
So,
We're gonna work on some stuff, and
yep,
we'll come maybe with something that's worth looking at.
Thinking there's not gonna be much, it's gonna be
See
anywhere
what
near the
happens.
32,000 though, you know, a year, but they also say that the service isn't very good, so.
so in that meeting that we had, the consensus by pretty much all the chiefs were the same, that to start, they kind of got us all by the short hairs. Unfortunately, there's not a lot we're gonna do, so everybody is kind of in agreement that this first year, we're gonna have to suck it up and play by their rules until we can find a better or alternative deal. But they also are in agreement that the service that we've been receiving from Northern Light is nowhere near what the guarantee from the contract has been for at least the past year.
Availability wise,
Yes, they don't have rigs available a lot of times. They're having to call towns outside of that entity to cover the second call for advanced or paramedic level providers. And this is becoming a regular occurrence because they have actually, what's happened is Northern Lights outgrown themselves by buying up all these companies and buying up all the area factors, and then COVID hit and they lost a shit ton of their employees and have not been able to get any back. And they're short-handed, they're short-staffed, therefore they're short ambulance. A lot of the ambulances that are rolling out of there are basic level for right now. So this is where the catch-22 comes in, because now we're gonna pay for a service that isn't
you
really,
may not get.
and it's not at the level Cindy I'm sure can vouch for the contract side of it. We're not getting what they guaranteed us on a regular basis right now.
Well,
I don't know if it says paramedic level in the contract. I've never
no,
seen
it
the
doesn't
contract.
anymore.
It doesn't anymore. When did that stop? Because it always did.
When we renewed it back when we went with the Carmel deal.
So when Ralph was chief, years ago, years and years. And
Yeah,
years.
Chris was doing it,
So we're not.
but they couldn't guarantee back then that they could get.
Any
Yeah.
other potential plan that came to fruition between now and then probably wouldn't be as well thought out as we would want it to be.
Right now.
So most likely, Northern Lights gonna be your,
Yeah, we're not gonna have a
your
choice
first
when it
year
comes.
option.
Cause
But-
they've monopoly, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's
Always.
really,
They have monopolized. Yes.
But we do have some stuff that we're working on, and we may be able to come up with something. We'll see what happens.
We'll see.
More to come.
So, committee members, can you give me an idea, and this is gonna be new to you probably, this committee that you want for this
Yeah.
memorial thing, how many people do you want on it? Do you want me to advertise to townspeople looking for volunteers?
Okay, so I know Heather was very interested.
We have 4 so far.
Okay.
Ben Hebers was interested as well, did he?
He hasn't emailed or called.
Yeah, he said that at the
Right,
town meeting.
shouldn't we put it out
Oh yeah, we should put it
to
out
the
there.
rest of
Yeah.
the town and get a list of candidates and you can choose from
Yeah.
that?
Well, it's been in the e-news. It has
Yeah.
been in the e-news the last 3 weeks.
But do you want 5 people, you want 7 people?
7's a good number. If we could get 7, if we can't, then 5 would be fine. It's hard to get people on a
We'll
committee.
be lucky to get 5,
I know.
but I'm
If you
hopeful.
get 7, you might have
Wishful.
5 show up.
Yeah.
right,
We
each
have
meeting.
we have a 5th one, but
Like
she's
planning
coming out
board,
of Tracy's
any of
apartments,
it.
and she's an older lady, and I don't believe she drives, so I'm not sure how she's gonna participate.
Okay, I did the school warrants. Glenn touched on Susan Collins, you wanted to schedule a workshop with the fire department officers.
I do. What kind of time frame are you guys working on?
I'm out till after July 23rd. Got a lieutenant's has to take in Bangor. That is the priority. Finally the priority. So I'm till after that. I don't know about you two, but that's me.
Whatever works for you. After that, I guess.
We wanna do it on a Monday.
Yeah.
If
How's
we're
the
gonna-
12th of August?
So the only thing I'll say about Mondays is that's also our training night. I'm the training officer.
12th of August is my birthday.
Alright.
I hate to be difficult, but
So if
not
we
that other
go
people can't teach
early
training,
on
but
a Tuesday, like 5.
Yeah,
move on. Make sure we're
um,
flowing that plotter that day and we get real wet.
We could do Tuesday, July 23rd at 5.
I'm wide open, so I'm not gonna say a damn word until I just get a date. And I'll put it in.
Neil?
I'm gonna double check that date right now.
You said July 23rd?
I believe it's July 23rd that test is, but I'm gonna confirm before I say I can do that. Because if it's like the next day. Oh, come on.
Adam, we never know because he's in the truck.
Is he down at the station now?
Yeah, Adam already said if he can be at whatever meeting we set up, he will be. But the way his schedule is, he could be driving a truck till 8 o'clock at night.
Right.
So, I can't find that email right now. We can plan on the 23rd in the evening, because I think the test will be in the morning anyway.
We
That's
can move
the
it to the 30th. Would that be better?
I would like to get them started, because I think probably we're gonna end up with a couple of them. So if, as long as it's not after the 20th, if it's like the 25th, I'm gonna have to be out, because my focus that week's gonna be studying.
So,
But I'll update you.
And
as
the
soon
week
as
of
I
the
find out
25th is out? Is that what you said?
No, if the test isn't on July 23rd, if it's on July 23rd, I'll have it done and I can come in here after.
Yeah.
I might be a little foggy, but I can do that. But if I'm wrong on the date and it's later in that week,
So can we do the 13th of August?
I think we can set up July 23rd, and I'll know tomorrow if that needs to change.
Alright, let's shoot for that, see what happens.
At 5.
5 o'clock.
Would that be an executive session meeting?
Nope.
Alright, so Eden School warrants, moving on to cemetery, nothing?
No, nothing on cemeteries.
Okay.
It's all good?
Yeah, the salt bid came in at, did I give you a copy of that?
Yeah.
78,
Yeah, 78.10.
and they agree to sell 14 more ton on top of the 140. They'll go up to 154 ton for that price.
We can buy as much as we want. We are obligated to buy, I
140.
think it's 75% of the
Of the
140.
140, I gotcha. Okay. Yeah, so that hasn't changed.
No,
Okay.
I think we won't see any snow or ice this year.
If that happens, I'm going bankrupt. Last
you
year
wanna
already
pass
killed
those
me.
down? I forgot to
We
pass
should
them
have had a
out
whole
when
bunch
you
of
did this
contracts, you
before.
got paid anyway.
Yeah,
Really?
Oh boy.
I gotta get with Ed and learn how to do it the right way.
Oh, yeah.
Alright, so we don't need to do anything with the salt bid, I mean, it is what
No,
it is,
it
right?
is what it is.
Alright, new business, we got anything?
No,
I do. Just an addition to what you had just done. In reference to the flagpole.
Yep.
Ben headed that up, but we had a very gracious donation by Scott Dow to have his crane truck come here and do all the
Oh, nice.
setup for the cable and the ropes and the pulleys and all that stuff. I think there ought to be a card sent to Scott Dow and Deacon Dow for doing that, somebody here in town. That was very inexpensive
Yeah.
donation
Can we
time
put
for
something
them.
on our page about it, with people that, stepped up to take care of that?
Yeah.
That would be good.
I have one thing. It's nothing. It's that time of year, Brian.
Hey, don't look at
Pass
me.
them. So, there's Brian's, there's Kurt's. I put your names on them.
Oh,
And I made a bright pink.
You can be me
So
if
you
you want.
keep
I
track
really
of
don't
them.
mind.
So on the next meeting, not the July 15th, but the August 1st meeting, if you could go through those are the policies we have in place. If you could go through and make any notes of things you think should change, or,
Oh, boy.
I will do the same with my copy. I don't have too many changes. I can,
is this the same as,
those are what we have in place as of right now. They just have to be renewed every year.
well, we were great last time, so I think it's okay as is.
We didn't make sure I ain't changed anything, Brian.
Wow.
You're gonna tell me you're not gonna look through that and find something to change? No way.
Move around a couple apostrophes.
Oh, yeah. A period here, highlighted here, a hyphenated.
So, old business, no update on the sand shed, no update on the playground.
No, we're waiting for people to get back to us on the playground and
Did Renee confirm that,
sand shed,
like, the,
that's who we're waiting for.
Okay.
The sand shed, we're gonna have an article on that special town meeting to, oh, that's probably something I should talk to you about real quick. So taxes are usually committed in July.
right,
We gotta wait until the school budget.
right,
So we're talking the end of the month. If we time it right and do that special town meeting the 1st of August,
Yeah.
then we can take care of the article we forgot about, getting money for the engineer for the sand shed, which was, I didn't bring that forward.
I still question that whole, the idea of that, to be honest.
Well, to tell you the truth, I kinda do too. As far as spending money for an engineer.
Yeah.
So, the only reason that I say that is because of people that I deal with every day. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I understand the whole idea of an engineer stamp is for them to be liable for what goes on. If you build it the way that they say to build it and it falls down, they're on the hook for it. But at the same time, I mean, so is there an estimate on the cost of engineering a new?
no, that's why we need, on the engineering, yes.
25, 30 grand-ish. I'm under the opinion that you can buy pre-built steel buildings,
Well,
and there's not a whole lot of engineering goes into building a
well,
Quonset hut or a,
correct. So I just
Box.
actually just bid a sand shed for a neighboring town. And I got a complete set of blueprints for it. Right from one end to the other.
For
So,
Who'd you get the blueprints from?
Hodgson,
Right, they're the engineer.
that's correct.
That's what we need the money for, is to get them.
Yes,
get-
but I understand that. But to look at this, it's a foundation, frost walls,
Yeah,
with a stick-built building on it.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's not, there's nothing that says that it has to be engineered, does it? Like,
If you're gonna get it financed, I have to imagine you need engineering.
yeah, that and you're gonna, you're gonna have to have the sign off of the fire marshal, cause it's a public building. You know,
is it a public building though?
it is,
Yeah.
it belongs to the public, that's the
Okay.
hard thing, you know? You can, I can do it, I can buy one of those kits and I can put it up at my house and there's nothing anybody can do about it. But when you're talking a municipality, there's a lot of stuff that you have to have and a lot of sign-offs that you need your ducks in a row, you just can't go doing this stuff.
but I don't, as far, it would need to be an engineered plan as far as financing goes?
I would
Yes.
imagine a bank's
Yes.
gonna require that.
I can
I don't-
find that out for sure.
Bank requires a GC for a house loan. which would have an engineered plan, where you have plans that you have to take
Blueprints.
to the bank, you have to take the blueprints to the bank.
Yes, you have to have a building plan.
Contractor, so-
Yeah, but you have to have a building plan. That doesn't mean that, right?
Which you typically get from an engineer, in one of the places.
No.
That's the thing, is the difference between something you and I would do at our home and what you do here is two totally different things.
Yeah, yep.
Number one is financing, and number two is the insurance company. It's hard, because I don't like to spend that money any more than anybody else does. That's why when we did the fire station, J M Brown did the engineering through their engineer as part of the cost.
Who, did Keith go look at the footings that are underneath of that?
He's been there, he's looked at them,
And his evaluation was?
can't save that building. If we were to put a new top on that building in today, we would have to put what they call a, what did he call it? They'd have to come in and add inches to that concrete on the inside,
Okay.
which concrete people hate to do. And the cost is,
Substantial.
yes, because they don't like to do it. In order for a new top to set on that, because of the new regulations, and that's the other thing, we're under regulations, we can't just build something that we think will,
Right, no, that's understandable, but I mean, if we're paying someone to build it, maybe we find somebody that's gonna have the plans to do it.
do it like we did the fire station. But we need to know what we need for a building in order to do that.
Well, I mean, there's none of the municipalities around here offering up anything. We can,
They're not gonna give up their designs, they pay big bucks for
did.
them.
Well, do you want a set of plans?
I think we do.
Okay, easy enough.
You wanna check into that,
What do you mean?
because you can't just give out those designs, they belong to somebody,
Well, I understand that, but it's gonna give you something to go from,
you know?
right? I mean, there's no sense to.
But we don't know what kind of building we want. Do we wanna put a steel top back on it? Do we wanna put a wooden square top on it? Do we wanna put a wooden arch top on it?
I would stick build it and truss it.
Yeah, I feel that's what we talked about last time.
Stick
that's-
built, trusses.
That's what Keith recommended, and
Yeah.
not do the arch,
No.
cause those arch trusses are very expensive. Just go up with a regular roof.
Correct.
It's the
Absolutely,
most economical way to do it that I can
Yes.
see.
that's right.
So,
I concur.
Done it on the fire
And,
station.
and I'm sure that somehow there would be an approved siding that you could use, even if it's only 8 feet up on the wall versus metal on the bottom, you know what I'm saying?
but you gotta have somebody that knows the rules and regulations on that, to do the design specs and the design and the spec book to put it out to bid.
Right on bed line.
Rhino line.
You won't
Rhino
do
line
that.
spray foam, I can fix the old one up there, no problem.
I'll meet you down there.
Flex
Probably
seal.
got 30 cans something at the house.
We get that guy that drives the boat with the screen in the bottom of it.
Yeah. That's what they did last time.
I just don't
They
think
tin
we're gonna
foiled
get
it.
away
Did they?
without an
Yeah.
engineer.
No,
I
it's
honestly don't.
done, I understand that.
There's just too many things that we have to make sure are in place. So we can either go after the money for the engineer, he was the cheapest, Plymouth Engineering out of the three that we talked to.
It's done. I still can't wrap my mind around it, to be honest. It just bothers me.
So because of that stamp,
Yeah, I know it is.
Yeah.
the stamp.
I know it is, but they shouldn't do
Who
it.
did
especially
Troy's?
about
Huh?
Who did Troy's?
that. The Amish.
They did.
They don't.
Looks
They
like a
don't
nice
build
building,
it.
that's why.
They don't
yeah,
build
so-
it, but it's under the,
I'm sure they had plans from somebody, but
yeah.
It's kinda built the
Cause
same way.
you know, if you don't go with a general contractor with an engineered design, then you gotta have a collector of works, you gotta have this, you gotta have, it's easier to go,
if you ask my wife, I never do anything easy. It's gonna save me $5, I'm gonna do it.
Who did you get a price from to use?
Plymouth Engineering, Haley Ward, and there was a third one, I can't remember.
You got Haley Ward, which was 28,000, A.E. Hodgson, which
A.E.
was
Hodgson.
37.5, and Plymouth Engineering came in at 23.8.
Yeah, Hodgson was the one that just did that one for Swanville.
Plymouth Engineering was cheaper than them.
And prices we've got of neighboring municipalities is $600,000-$700,000
Yeah.
for,
Um,
for a box.
yeah, well, I'm trying to think, but my number was, geez, I hate to misspeak, but it was around 200 grand. Just do the groundwork for it.
Yeah.
Then you gotta pave the inside of it, and then you gotta buy the concrete, and, I mean, yeah. Oh, no, it's, which is astronomical if you really stop and think about it, but at the same time, it's a big building.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the dimensions on that one, Ed, that you're doing? Down there?
125 by 70.
What's the one, what are you figuring approximately here? Cindy?
100 by,
I thought it was 100, I thought that's what it was, yeah.
100 by 90?
I was thinking.
I thought it was
80, but
60.
I can't.
Yeah, the one we got now, I mean, you don't do anything any bigger than that,
Right.
right?
We were talking about moving it a little bit so we could actually not have to tear all that concrete out. That's gonna be a huge
So
expense.
there you gonna go with
I'm gonna
it.
say, if you do that, you're gonna take away the whole drive-through aspect of that lot down there for the trucks.
Yeah, you really have not unless, yeah, I don't know. What are you gonna do with that spot?
Don't know.
You know what I'm saying though?
Yeah.
I mean, in order to move it, if you're gonna move it, you
I
gotta.
mean, we're gonna be, I don't even know how much it costs to demolish all of that concrete
That'd be
and
expensive.
haul it off, but it's not gonna be good.
Well, why would you have to haul it off?
Cause it's contaminated,
What?
contaminated with
Salt.
salt.
Oh, believe me, I
D-
rolled
DEP's
my
right
eyes
down
too.
there. Somebody will call.
Yeah, but why's it gotta leave? Why can't you leave it on site?
Cause it has to go somewhere to be
Salt's
dealt
not a hazardous material.
It isn't a near water source.
Yeah, but what water source?
Way down back.
I guess.
The pond?
A little brook that runs through there. And
Give me the worse than it is now.
I mean, we might be able
But-
to leave it for a few years, but the worse it gets,
Whatever's gonna leach is already leached, I can
I know.
assure you.
well, you
Well,
can't
no, but
tell.
I'm just saying a demo it,
mackerel running up and down that stream.
but demo it and put it out on the bank right there, bury it. There's room enough there to do it,
I have no problem with it if we can do it,
because that's all
but
gravel.
we report to a higher authority,
Yeah,
so.
well, I mean,
But before you make that decision, ask so that you know whether you
Right.
can or not, because
Right.
that would save you a lot of
I know
money if you
that
could.
concrete can go be buried, but I know concrete with metal in it cannot. Because it's not biodegradable. Concrete will biodegrade eventually, I guess.
It's already doing it.
Mm.
That's the
I'm
problem.
not the expert. That would have to be part of whatever you talk to an engineer about.
Yeah.
What we can and cannot do, because there's different places that we have to account to.
yeah, alright, I mean, it's
Because
what I
we're the
do.
first ones to get turned in.
So if you think that's what we need to do, and we need to pay an engineer a bunch of money, how long is that good for? Because we don't know how long it's gonna be before we get around to actually get. How long are the plans good for? If we don't. How long it's gonna be before we get around to actually
Forever.
building this thing?
Yeah, the plans aren't gonna go bad.
Well, I know,
It'd be
but
a permit
sometimes they
to do
won't. Sometimes they won't honor.
Well, yeah, cause you have to get a design, I would imagine if the rules change, the design's no good anymore. So, take your chances.
That's the whole reason why this is all coming to fruition, because somebody decided that everybody needs to salt shed. All the municipalities are getting
The
banged by the
insurance
insurance
company
companies.
did.
Somebody put it in their head that it's
Yeah.
time for new salt sheds.
Yeah,
So is that the only reason we're doing this, is because of the insurance?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the insurance won't cover us anymore.
Yeah, but so why don't we go with a different insurance company?
I don't think you're gonna get into,
I think we can get a couple years out of a different insurance company, to be honest, but then you go into having stuff with different insurance companies. We use
MMA.
MMA as our carrier, and it becomes a hassle.
Yeah, but it's no different than the old fire department,
It's true.
right?
I don't know what the situation was with that one, to be honest.
They never not insured that.
I shouldn't have probably, but
Yeah,
They're
well,
not even doing
yeah,
that.
but I understand that, but it's kind of the same scenario.
Well, no, it was, that we had an engineer study done on the fire station. And it was not condemned like this sand shed has been. It was noted there was a lot of problems and structural problems and things needed to be fixed and stuff, but the insurance company has pretty much condemned this building, and Keith from Plymouth Engineering backed him up. It's not savable. The majority of that building, where it attaches to the concrete,
Oh, no, I concur.
is
I
gone.
spend a lot of time in there.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm fully aware. But, yeah,
Send a loader through, right through the wall by mistake, and then make an insurance claim.
we can, it's not insured.
They're not even holding an
They're
insurance.
giving us a minimum, I think it's $1,000 insurance on it.
so what's the,
Oh my lord.
but so if we did
What's that phrase?
hire Plymouth Engineering to do a set of plans, right?
The 23 gets us right straight through to the end. They will design it, they will oversee the build of it, put it out to bid, the whole 9 yards.
They put it out to bid?
Yes.
Just like Hodgson did.
Yep.
Yeah,
much as it pains me, I guess that's what it is.
So we're
I'm
gonna,
gonna squawk every time we talk about it. You know this, right?
I don't know what to tell you.
well, it is a necessary
It
evil,
is.
Yep,
It is.
and for financing as well.
If it was me, I'd have a tarp out there.
So then, so then, I mean, it's gonna be the same as any other process, right? Get bids.
Yeah.
Find one that you accept.
Yep.
And then go to the bank.
yep. Hopefully we'll have gone to the bank with all the prior stuff and have it all secured by
Pre-approval.
the time we put it out to bid. Cause we'll have an idea of price wise. Engineering will do a lot of it. They'll
I have a budget
That
number.
would be $600,000.
So,
An estimate, yeah.
You just can't see it.
Maybe the chief could reach out to his new friend and see if she can give him some money.
Susan,
Susan Collins.
I'll make a phone call. I just talked to her the first day today. She called me again.
well, that school money coming awful handy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no kidding.
Okay, so
Maybe Rich
we're
was
gonna
in
hold
town.
off on taxes.
Yeah.
Our meeting the
Can't do
1st
it
of
till-
August. We'll have the
I'll go see
few
Michael.
things that we've discussed. We'll have the school number, hopefully. And there's something else. But I'll have a warrant with what's needed for the special town meeting.
Sounds good.
Okay,
Anything else? That's it.
Move to adjourn.
A second. 3-0.
There's the first 3-0 vote for the night.
Got time in there.
Time is
7:16?
7:16, and we adjourn for the night.